See you guys back here. So I'm just gonna do some roll call. So if you're here, just say I'm here. So Alex Skeldon is not here. Yeah, he told me that. Alyssa Toppy,
Here.
Lauren Boyce,
Here.
Megan Cohen,
Here.
Nick Pleary,
Here.
Summer Milski,
Here.
Uma Gerwig. She said her Wi-Fi isn't good, but she's here.
Here.
Awesome. Okay, you're here. Yana Herzog.
Here.
Awesome. I'm here. Anthony.
Here.
Emanuela.
Here.
Maggie.
Here.
Jenna Farber.
Here.
Awesome. William. William is not here. Okay. Amelia. Amelia also is not here. Ali. Also not here. And then Thomas.
Here.
Awesome. It is 4:01 and I call this meeting to order. Very exciting. So Anthony, you go through the minutes.
Yeah, of course. So
Awesome.
last meeting, we started off with sort of just quickly discussing how everyone's liaison positions have been starting off with regard to communicating with their department counselor committee. And then we had a wonderful constituent engagement presentation from Alyssa, just about how we can kind of extend ourselves to the youth of Wakefield and listen and be able to voice their concerns. And then we were able to talk with Laurel Gorville from the Board of Health about sort of Wakefield's local response for, with the COVID-19 pandemic. And then we sort of, at the end, just discussed who's going to present for their liaison positions for this meeting. And that's what's going to be happening today.
Awesome. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
I motion.
Awesome. Lauren, her second.
I second it.
Awesome. All's in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Awesome. Passed unanimously. Next, we're going to move on to public comments. Anyone from public? I don't think so. Okay. So in that spot, we're going to actually go to Alyssa and Anthony to do a quick communications thing.
Yes, I can just start off. So essentially, Alyssa and I are kind of like dividing and conquering with regard to addressing our kind of communicating role within the Youth Council. And I myself am the liaison to the communications department. We just recently met with Jennifer McDonald. She's sort of like the communications person. She's kind of like the one person show. She does everything with regard to the communications department. So I'll continually be in touch with her and talk about how we could sort of present ourselves and present what initiatives and actions we've been doing. One, for example, way of communicating through Jennifer's help is through creating a website, or not creating a website, but updating our website page, which we do have on the Town of Wakefield website page. And I'll just bring it over to Alyssa with her role with regard to kind of the social media aspect of that communication.
Yeah, so for that, we just kind of talked about how to effectively like include a lot of information in what we put out so people know what we're doing and they understand it. Also just how to accurately and properly run a social media account for our purpose in terms of keeping everything available for public record and things like that.
Yeah. Also, we have an update. We got a town email address. I just got to figure out how to log into it. I still don't really understand it. I can't log into it yet. But once I figure that out, I'll send it both to you and Anthony and Alyssa so we'll have like a town email, which is cool. Very exciting. And Lauren.
Yeah. And just an update from me. I'm excited you guys will have that email address on the website so people can contact you. The other thing too is I was speaking with Town Administrator Steve Mayo today, and he is thrilled to hear the youth council is going really well. And he thought it'd be nice to be able to really get the story out there because people could use some positive news these days, and especially, positive impact that you guys are making, and kind of how the liaison piece works, I think is really interesting. So I know Emanuela and Jack had started the press release. Maybe we can turn that over to you, Alyssa and Anthony, to kind of firm up and get out into the paper. Do you think we can have it done maybe by next week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks for the update, guys. That was awesome. I'm really excited about all this. So next, Yana, are you ready for the Human Rights Committee?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
So, I was really happy that I got to join in the last Human Rights Commission meeting. And so basically what they do is that they value all community members and honor inclusion, equality, and diversity. And so some things that they've been talking about, especially in the last meeting, was obviously the warrior logo, because it's a stereotype against Native Americans culture. And they also talked about Instagram, like getting an Instagram, because they could reach out to so many students and get those people involved instead of they just have a Facebook and that's mainly like adults. And towards the end of the meeting, I also showed them some posters that I've been working on, and one of them had the idea to show them or promote them downtown or in local businesses, so then we can promote diversity, equality, and inclusion and all that stuff. So that is basically what they do, what my role so far is, and what I've been working on with them, and what they've been also working on together as a whole. And I know that Maria would also like to join one of these meetings sometime to talk about the warrior logo, because I'm sure everyone has a lot of questions. That's it, but that's basically what happened.
I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the logo thing, because I know I don't go to Wakefield High, but I still have opinions on it. So do you want to have a quick little discussion about it? Then that'd be cool, because we have time. So if anyone's supposed to say what they feel about it and what do you think would be the best? Yeah, Megan.
I don't think there's really an issue with it. I mean, if it's bothering people, if there's specific people in our town or other towns that feel offended by it, then I think it would be an issue. But I haven't really heard anyone say that they feel offended by it. Personally, I could be wrong or just not talking to the right people, but I don't know. I feel like we've had it for so long, and I don't think it was meant to offend anyone. I feel like it was just a logo. So I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I think what the main Lauren.
Sorry. I was just gonna say kind of what Megan was saying. I'm not personally offended by it, but I do think that it's one of those things that if it is offending people and they do feel uncomfortable with it, and it can't hurt to change the logo, I don't really think there's a downside to it if it makes people feel more comfortable with being in the town and being represented by something that they think is more appropriate and that they're more comfortable with.
Yeah, so I have had friends who have complained about the logo. I've also complained about it because it's, I guess you would say, because our town isn't really, it's a predominantly white town. And so the fact that we have another culture, but I don't really see where it's culture appreciation, because it's not we're really appreciating it in any sense, or we're not showing any, I guess we're not having any events that are celebrating those who are Native Americans or Indians. So it's why do we have it in the first place, And so I think it's one of those things it could be replaced. It's not really that hard to replace that logo. You just need to make up a new one, and then it just needs to get through the process. But I know some people are being offended by it, and I just really think that it should be gone.
And just to add on, North Quincy, they had a really, really offensive Native logo too, and they just changed theirs. So it is happening, and it's very possible. So that it is a solution that can be done and respect communities throughout the town.
I agree with Emanuela. I do know some people, I do have some friends who are related to Native American people and they find it extremely offensive. And like, it's very easy to change it because you could keep the face but put on like a Spartan or Athenian helmet because that's more socially acceptable. And it's not like it's hard to change because you can literally anyone can draw it and you can just, like take it off, stop making like those sweatshirts and the water bottles and whatever you make it, because I do know people who do feel offended by it because it's not just Native Americans who are warriors. There's Spartans, Athenians, Americans, like, so I do know people who are offended by it, and I do think we should change it because it might just make everyone feel better.
Yana, if you just want to like, tell us like what was like the commission talking about when they were discussing the logo?
Well, they were like deciding like if they need to change it and why the big deal is, and like main points, and also other people's opinions because like people are gonna have questions and all that, so they're trying to figure out how to answer those things. But I definitely agree with the two people that just spoke about like it's definitely easy to change. I know that Winchester just changed it, and like how Emanuela said, that were mostly white, and it was white colonizers that used the stereotype of the violent, savage Native warrior to justify sending the U.S. Army to kill Native Americans who didn't consist and having their land taken away. So that's like one of the main points why we need to change.
Yeah, I agree with Yana and Emanuela. I feel like using Native Americans as a mascot is kind of a little bit like offensive, as if Native Americans are more like mascots and not real people. Like they were persecuted and now all of a sudden they're like a mascot. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
Do you guys, youth council members, do you think people need more education on some of the points I think several of you brought up and what Yana brought up? Do you think people would benefit, especially young people?
Yeah, I'm glad that we talked about this actually because I didn't think about a lot of these points when I gave my answer, and I'm really glad that Emanuela and Yana and Maggie and Uma, you guys were able to explain it to me a little better because I didn't see the full effect of what it was doing to people. I'm glad that I know now, so thank you.
Megan, thank you so much for just your open-mindedness of being willing to be educated and kind of say, oh, maybe I had a different perspective. And I think, I think that's one beauty of youth is that you guys are willing to be educated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I think what would be really cool is if we can get someone from the HRC to come on our call and we can talk about this. And I really think if we all agree about we need to like educate young people more, like say we want to change this, it'd be really cool if we as youth council like write up a little press release saying we recommend as the young people in the community that we should change our town mascot. I think that would be really helpful for people who want to change it in a way. So I think next meeting, if everyone's cool with it, we should have a person from the commission come on. We can really discuss the ins and outs of it and all of that.
Yeah, I agree. To answer your question, Catherine, I think that it is good to educate people because I feel like for towns that have Native Americans as their mascot, it's not good for them to see them as a mascot before they see them as people when they're still being unjustly punished like this to this day,
Totally. Mm-hmm.
I also agree that like more people should be being educated because really nobody my age has like been talking about it. So I don't know if they just don't talk about it or if they like don't know.
Yeah, there's also like a petition right now in Wakefield. I'm pretty sure it has almost 1,000 signatures to change the what's it called, mascot.
This is really good. I'm really glad we're talking about this because I know I felt a way about this for a long time. So I'm really glad it's being brought up now. I think next meeting we can talk about it after everyone presents, but it's a cool idea. Also, Anthony, can you note in the minutes that William is here? He just got here. Awesome. So
can I just say too,
yeah.
Anthony, that Ollie is trying to get in. He's having computer issues. So I said maybe he can, because he's presenting, he can try to get in on his phone and I can share his presentation. But as far as inviting someone from the Human Rights Coalition, that will be Yana doing that.
Okay, yeah, she definitely wants to come and talk about the warrior logo because so many people have so many questions.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so Ali is not here right now. So Emmanuel, are you good to talk about the housing authority?
I have a presentation. Like, can I share that?
Yeah. Yeah, you should be able to share a screen.
It's not letting me share the screen.
What's it saying?
It says whiteboard.
Oh, you have to click on a different. There are a bunch of settings for a share screen, so you like share your Chrome tab or something.
It only says whiteboard.
Did you allow multiple sharers?
Yeah, it's a Emmanuel. If you want to share your thing with Catherine, Catherine can put it up.
Are you emailing it to me, Emanuela?
You want me to email it to you instead of just sharing it?
Or you can put it in the drive. If it's a Google Drive, then you can put it in the chat. Oh, good. Allie's coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh yeah, I could just share. I could share the link, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
put in the chat.
Okay.
Well, we're
And
doing
then
that.
Jack, do you want me to share it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is everyone drinking water? Everyone take a water break while we're waiting for this to happen.
I can't wait till these meetings are in person. Does anybody
know.
have any idea how soon that will be?
I don't know. We were talking about it, but it's really about open meeting law. We have to be sure the public can see stuff, so we have to figure out those logistics. That's like
We can, you know what, too, is that we're learning that maybe, I just requested access, Emanuela, so if you can give me that, please. The meetings once meetings are allowed in person, we can do those. And then they can be filmed at WCAT and then they can be aired. But if you watched the school committee meeting last night, raise your hand. Some of you did. It was long. Okay. Let's see if I have access. I just sent I requested access. Did you give it to me?
Yes, I made it public.
Okay. There we go. Okay, take it away, Emanuela.
So today I'm just going to be speaking on behalf of the Wakefield Housing Authority.
Catherine, go to next slide.
Slide, please. All right, so to apply for the housing, there's a whole process. It's specifically made for seniors pretty much over the age of 6 years old. So the first thing you'd have to do is go to the Wakefield Housing Authority's website, which is wakefieldhousing.org. And then you have to take the next step and then fill out the necessary applications that are listed. Some of them are seen right here. And then your application could be done both online and physically, but online is a much more efficient and easier way to do it because everything's just there at once and you don't have to worry about any more stuff. Next slide, please. So the difference between applying online versus physically is that when it's done online, you can apply to each housing center at the same time compared to when you're doing it physically by paper, where you have to have different housings and then each one has to be done separately, which takes a lot of time.
So, Emanuela, so this is for the town of Wakefield's public housing, just to, a lot of people might not realize this. So that
Yes.
the town has housing units that
Yes.
are public housing.
Yes, different apartments. Next slide, please. So after applying, you could expect to be put on a wait list. And once you're on the wait list, the housing authority will make sure to check your credentials and make sure that you can qualify for the housing. 13.5% of those who are placed in the housings are in the young or disabled categories, under the ages of 60. But if you are a part of the homeless population, you have priority over the other applicants. So priority would pretty much mean that if you are a resident who's like maybe 67 years old, although you are over the required age, though you are at the required age, if you are not homeless, you probably won't be seen as quickly as those who are, because there's a lot of people who are applying at that age, but compared to the homeless people who don't have any other place to go, they are seen as the #1 priority, regardless of when they applied as well. Say the 67-year-old applied like a month ago compared to the homeless person who applied a week ago. They will most likely be put out of the wait list first. And then after the entire application process, the applicants are sent mails of letters that have their results. Next. So Wakefield has 3 different federal properties, 3 different applications for all the different properties, and they are done in person by date stamp. And so I'm not sure if you've seen these around, but they're pretty, like the Lincoln School, I'm pretty sure it's like everyone has seen these ones. Then you have Crystal View and then Harts Hill Heights. The Lincoln School was a previous school that used to be, I'm pretty sure, elementary, but not anymore. So they just made it into different housing properties. The next slide, please. So you will know if there's an opening in the housing, they will let you know, but the only times it will happen is if a resident has passed away or has died, or if a resident had moved into an assisting living center. Next. So there are different requirements to live in the different housings. So in order to live in one of them, the residents have to have all of their required documents approved, and rent is just 30% of the adjusted gross income. So that's how they try to make it affordable. And then in regards to COVID-19, which is the pandemic that we're suffering right now, for the office, the Wakefield Housing Authority's office is closed at the moment until further notice. And if you do need to like reach out to them for any necessary reason, you can just contact them with their email, and if needed, they'll try their best to have a meeting with you. But meetings will not be like online meetings or in person. They'll most likely, if they are in person, they will be done outside because they'd rather have them not inside the building. And then in regards to health, if you are a tenant living in one of the housing authorities, they are providing masks to them, and they check up with them from time to time to make sure that they have what they need. And for safety, so it's pretty much going to be the same before COVID and after COVID. So they have cameras all over the buildings just to make sure that the tenants are safe, and that they have security fobs, which are like the buzzers and different things to get into the buildings so that the tenants can only enter. And they also mentioned that like tenants also have the power and jurisdiction to, like, if they don't feel as if like there's a person who they know doesn't live in the building, they have the freedom to like say, oh, I don't know if you should be here. This is probably not a place for you, especially right now because of COVID. whereas like less guests are allowed because of safety reasons and concerns. Next, oh yeah, so right here I just added some extra information, like their contact information, their address for the office, the website wakefieldhousing.org, email at rcn.com, and then they also provide maintenance for the tenants living there. Maintenance at the moment isn't done as frequent as before, so they're just there for like any situations, like maybe once in a while, just to check up on everything. So you just call this number 781-245-7328. And that's about all I have right now.
Awesome. That was really good. Does anyone have any questions for Manuel? No? Awesome. That was really good. Super informative. So Ali, you are here now. So would you like to start?
Yes, I was just having technical difficulties and I couldn't access the Zoom meeting.
It's all good.
So I'm just gonna try to share my screen.
Do you want to do it, Ali, or do you want me to?
No, I got it.
Nice.
So here's my short presentation on the Conservation Commission. So this is just like what the commission does. So the Conservation Commission applies the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection Wetlands Protection Act to building, renovation, and landscaping projects that may affect protected areas. So the Wetlands Protection Act requires that homeowners receive a special wetland permit from their city or town's conservation commission before starting the projects. And projects that are 100 to 200 feet away from a wetland, stream, river, or floodplain require a permit depending on the body of water. Projects on endangered species habitats also require a permit. So just some current issues that the Conservation Commission discussed at our last meeting are the delineation, which means describing something precisely, 50 Quannapowitt Parkway, Wakefield, Massachusetts, and the delineation of 154 Salem Street, and the request for a minor modification at 611 Salem Street, Wakefield, Massachusetts. So some ways that the Youth Council can work with the Conservation Commission, which it's pretty limited because of the things that the two councils do differ, and some potential ways that the Youth Council can collaborate with the Conservation Commission could be joining the Conservation Commission meetings and researching the Commission's responsibilities, possibly accompanying the Commission on various site walks they conduct and the field work that they do. And possibly a Commission member could join one of our meetings if we wanted to do that. So this is just some more information on the Conservation Commission. So you can visit these websites, or you can email the Conservation Commission at conservationcommission@wakefield.massachusetts.mad.us.
Awesome. Thank you, Ali. That was good. So do you have any questions for Ali about the Conservation Committee, question, and all that? No? Okay.
Ali, so oh, do you mind if I ask?
Yeah, go.
You know, it's down the office is down the hall from my office, and I actually just learned some new things. So say they're discussing a property like the Quannapowitt. So that's at
yes.
What are some things that they might discuss, or what might come up?
So what they do is that they need to find if there are some different things, like if there's a floodplain nearby, wetlands on the property, which there are, and aquatic vegetation and endangered species. So those things do exist because there is aquatic vegetation, I believe, on the property. So they would have to go in and do, they would have to go onto the property and find out where the wetlands end and where the project can begin. So once that is done, the Conservation Commission would give that property a special wetland permit so they can begin the project. So in some cases, like the 50 Quannapowitt Parkway, they have to redelineate the property because the original delineation of the property was done like 9 years ago. So that's why they have to reconvene about it.
Because the wetlands have changed?
Yes, the wetlands have possibly changed, so that's why they have to redelineate the property.
Now, does the Conservation Commission, do they kind of measure like pollution into some of the waterways and things like that?
I don't know if they do that exactly, but I know that they do make sure to check where the wetland ends and where the property could begin. So that way the property doesn't like harm the wetlands that is already there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a half hour left for our meeting. So I think what we can do now is we continue our discussion on the mascot because we have so much time. And then, during this, we can probably just like create some questions we have for our next guest, which we'll hopefully have for next meeting. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah. Okay. So I think if we just go around and we just like talk about like some things we want to talk about or questions we have, and I can just write them down so we can have them so we can start asking them next meeting so we don't forget. So someone just like want to start off. We just go around.
Just to clarify, Jack, you want the youth council members to come up with questions for whom?
For the person from the Human Rights Commission about the mascot, just so we can talk about it now, because we had a good discussion and I don't want us to forget anything that we were talking about because we're having a meeting in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I want to write it down just so we don't forget.
Okay.
So
I guess thinking on like kind of the logistics side of things, what would exactly be the process of taking down the Warrior logo and then replacing it with a new logo and a new name? I would ask whoever joins this next meeting how that process logistically would work.
And along with Anthony, I'd also wonder like how much it would cost to replace all the jerseys and like the taped on logo in the gymnasium and stuff.
I would ask if it would be considered offensive even if it wasn't a Native American, like if it was a Spartan, for instance, because that is a specific race, like would it still be considered offensive or would it not?
I think something that we might want to bring up is, do they have any alternatives already thought of? Because I think that's going to be something that a lot of people are going to bring up if the push to change the logo keeps going.
I would probably ask if we keep the name and change the logo or take out. I think the most discussion is on keeping the name and changing the logo. Correct? I don't know if I'm wrong, but I'd ask if the name is gonna be changed as well as the logo.
I'd be curious, like, how the youth will be able to be involved in it because, like, it's on everybody's, like, jerseys, classrooms, gyms. So, like, how can kids in the town get involved in the decision?
Like adding on to what Jenna said, like, what would they need us to do in order to promote this change in the logos?
One question that I have is how long would that change have to be made? How long would it take to rebrand the whole town of Wakefield?
yeah, it's a great questions. I also think I talked about the culture in Wakefield in general, and I don't go to Wakefield High, or I went to Galvin, but like what the culture is around the logo and how we can like educate people on like talking about like mass genocide of Native people from European colonists, or etc., and make sure that people understand why this is kind of offensive. I think just education in general would be a good thing to talk about. So. Anyone else have any questions? Just
I have one. I was wondering like what happens with all the merch that we spent like so much money on. Like, is it still like appropriate to wear after we change it, and what to do with all that stuff?
Yeah. Anyone else? No. All right, these are good questions. I can write this up in Google Doc, and we can email it to all of you, and then it can be a collaborative one, so we can keep adding if you think about stuff. But yeah, this is really exciting and awesome. So we just continue down with our agenda. So next meeting date, let me check my phone. Does anyone have anything like on Wednesdays? I know band camp was canceled, I guess. So
Sorry, guys.
I know it's a bummer, but unfortunately, yeah.
I know,
What
especially
can you do?
seniors. I just, Jack, the only other thing I thought I really appreciated learning from, and I think all of you did, from our youth council members that are liaisons. And I think it'd be great if we could hear from a couple more at the next meeting in addition to having someone from the Human Rights Commission.
mhm.
So
Yeah, so does anyone want to go next? So hasn't had
yeah,
any meetings.
Lauren and Alex have a school committee meeting we're attending.
Okay, so school committee can go next. So anyone else? I think we could do 2 next week, or the one if it's a bunch of people, because we also
I was
have a
gonna
speaker,
say,
so.
I was gonna say on the 11th I meet with the deputy chief,
Okay, cool.
so I can possibly update you on what their department's doing, the police department.
Okay. So if we do school and police next week, in addition to the Human Rights Commission, I think that would be a really good meeting.
especially both of those departments, there's a lot going on, so.
Yeah, the school committee meeting yesterday, I guess, was a lot. A lot happened. Okay. So next meeting date. Okay, so it would be the 19th or the 26th. Because the 19th would be in 2 weeks, and 26th would be 3 weeks, I think. So what works better for anyone? So like this was 19th would be what we did this week. We did like I don't know how to talk about it, but that yeah. Do you rather do like how we did this week, or have we done it before? That's what I was saying.
I'm not free on the 19th.
Okay, so I think the 26th worked great for everyone. So August 26th. Is that okay, everyone?
Is that still a Wednesday?
That is Wednesday, yeah.
Okay, then yeah.
August 26th at 4 p.m. Okay. Okay, so is there any other business we want to talk about? Because we have like 22 minutes.
I actually
Well,
have something.
I guess sorry.
No, you can go, you can go.
I guess I feel like we all probably want to just talk about what's happening. I know we'll talk about it next week, but just how we feel about the school situation, because I know it's probably hard for a lot of people to hear about only going twice a week for half a day for high school kids and twice a day for full days for middle school kids.
How's everyone feeling about that? Because I know my school is a little different. Like we're doing like 2 days on full day, 2 days off, and then you go like Friday, Monday. So yeah, how's everyone feeling about the situation?
I think a big problem will probably be for parents who have kids in separate grades. Also, if one's in the high school and one's in the middle school, that could be tough.
Yeah, I agree with Uma. My parents have already been talking about how we're going to deal with my brother. And I'm just a little confused as to, we only have 2 days a week, so that half day is 3 classes. So what are we gonna toss extracurricular classes aside, like art class and music and all the kids that those kind of classes?
I definitely recommend watching the school committee meeting because they did address some of those issues, and I think they're going to try to get some extracurriculars in. Whether they're online or in person, I'm not sure, but I think they're going to be in person except for health. at the high school level.
There's also gonna be Zoom meetings for like parents and families for each specific school like this week. So I don't know if any of y'all want to go to those, but I didn't know if you guys knew about those.
That's a great idea, Alyssa. And I can email that out to the youth council on when the high school and middle school ones are.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they
also,
said for middle school that they were adding specialist teachers to each team, and they were going to be like part of your day in your classroom.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jenna. That especially at the Galvin level.
to be completely honest, I am a little bit frightened, like thinking how 1,000 high schoolers, let alone 1,000 middle schoolers, are going to be like under wearing masks all the time, even though it's not a full school day, even though it's actually, well, I guess it's 500 students per school each day. I'm just kind of a little bit hesitant at how the schools can be able to maintain the authority necessary to like have everyone wear those masks at all times. It just seems a little bit logistically uneasy at the moment.
I think like everyone's talking about stuff that they don't like, but I do like want to bring up the point of how they have like groups and you won't be able to leave the groups, because I was a little worried about that at first, because I thought they were just going to do groups for the core subjects and then you would have different specialists. And I figured, well, if one kid got COVID, then all the people from the specialists would also have to be quarantined too. And then the people they interacted with would have to be quarantined too. And that would end up like quarantining the entire grade. So I do like the idea of having one group and they have to stay together. I do like that.
Maggie, thanks for sharing a positive, because I think that, you know, a lot of people put a lot of hard work into coming up with the plan, and it is challenging. So there are, you know, I think they're, you know, trying to keep everyone safe.
Yeah, I do appreciate all the hard work that everyone put into creating the day, because I know no one's ever dealt with this before, and it's obviously not easy at all. I just know that a lot of people are probably going to have a hard time with it, because I know school, some people hate school, but I know school, some people escape, and it's hard to be stuck at home that long. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were all doing okay.
Well, I'm hopeful that yeah, I think it's nice that you guys will hopefully be able to be in school part of the time. And I'm one of those parents. I have two kids at the Galvin, and one will be going Monday and Tuesday, and the other one will be going Thursday and Friday. So we'll always have someone at home.
I do appreciate the fact that they have created a plan where there is a safe setting for students to at least go back to schools. I do think and I think it's collectively agreed that online classes are just not the same, and that to some extent students need to be back in school physically within the class, physically interacting with the teacher.
Summer, did you want to say something?
Oh, I didn't realize I was unmuted, but while I'm unmuted, I'll just say I think it's interesting that going back 2 days a week, we're exposing ourselves just as much if we're going for the full time. And even if if you're in different groups, your siblings, you're coming home and you're living in the same house, and so then group A is being mixed with group B. And yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because I have two other siblings, so even though we're in different groups and they're smaller, we're still all bringing different germs home to the same house.
Yeah, I never thought about that. It'll also be tough when one kid will maybe get the virus, which I think there's a good chance of that happening, if I'm being honest. Then they might have to just close everything back down again, and all the work that was put in would like be set back again.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility that they're planning. Puma, and it sounds like that they're really trying to really improve the home online version of schooling, so it's actually happening live and you're logging into classes and things like that. So if that does happen, it won't be like the spring.
Totally. And all the seniors out there, college apps this year, like it's gonna absolutely suck. Yeah, but that's a whole different thing. But anyone else have any other business you want to talk about?
Yes. So we met with Doug Lyons before, the superintendent of Wakefield. So I just want to share with you guys like a project that I've been doing like by myself personally with him. And so like in the Wakefield district, I've been working with the district and other people to change the school's curriculum all over Wakefield. We've been working right now. I created like a list of stuff like necessary topics we need to speak about, different like hiring people of color as teachers, adding more resources to the schools, like including the high school most necessarily, like the guidance department, as many of you know, it's really not very resourceful in my opinion, especially for like college help. I've noticed that like they do very little to help students who are going into colleges, especially like with the college process. So like I've just been meeting with them for the past like few months since like I think April, or not April, since like early June. I'd say around like the time of the Black Lives Matter movement was like spiking is the time where I've been meeting with them. And so right now we are working on, you know, getting more teachers of color and changing the curriculum as a whole, specifically the English and the history departments. So we are working right now. I've been like working with Jason Pavey. He's the coordinator of the history department, and we have a new English department coordinator. So she and I have also been talking. I also talked with the METCO director. And so like, it's just more of the thing, like support and stuff. Just like reach out to them as well. Like if you feel like something like that is something you're interested in, or like you want to learn more of what we're pretty much doing, like just let me know. And also when I met with the METCO director, she brought up this point that I thought I should share with you guys. I don't know if like we could do this or like we have the jurisdiction to do this, but she like we also mentioned this part of like students, like if they want to say they have a complaint for someone, you know, like a complaint service, I'd say. Like maybe there's something that they don't like that the town is doing or that they feel as if like needs to change in the town. Like they could just hit up that person or like reach out to the person who's in charge of the complaint service, you know, and then maybe you could go to like the chair of Wakefield or like the board of Wakefield, the town council, and then like they could talk about that issue, you know? And so like maybe make it for specifically for students and for like maybe parents and teachers of Wakefield.
Okay, and Emanuela, that might be something too that we can bring up to Maria from the Human Rights Commission next week, because they have some avenue for that. I believe, Yana, I'm not sure if you know, but there is some way to say, okay, this has been a human rights violation, but maybe it sounds like it needs to be expanded upon, but we can explore that. And I just have to say, thank you for all the work you've been doing and, you know, really trying to be part of the solution and not just talk the talk, but walk the talk. So great work.
Yes, that's really awesome. It's really cool to hear that we're actually affecting change in town. Go you. Awesome. So if nothing else, Yana, can you make sure you email the person from the Human Rights Commission for August 26th at 4 p.m. And it'd be great if you could copy Catherine and I as well, so we can just like get all the info.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Great. So anything else you want to talk about before we end the meeting? No? Great. So there's no business. Do I have a motion to adjourn until August 26th at 4 p.m.?
I motion.
Here a second.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Awesome. It's great. It was great seeing you guys. We'll see you on August 26th. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Have a nice